Let's be honest. A lot of non-technical founders believe that if they just find someone to build the app, their startup will take off. They think, I've got the idea. I'll explain it clearly. I just need someone to code it for me. That sounds reasonable. But here's the hard truth. A tech startup is not just an idea. It's a living, evolving system. And that system needs a builder, a real partner. Because once the building begins, the idea changes. You'll face new questions every week. What's the fastest way to test this feature? How do we handle user data securely? Should we use Firebase or Supabase? What can we launch in 2 weeks, not 2 months? If you're not technical, you won't have the answers. And if you don't have someone on your team who does, your project will slow down or break. Let me tell you what typically happens to solo non-tech founders who try to go it alone. They hire a freelancer or an agency. They explain the vision. Development starts, but 2 weeks in, changes are needed. A feature takes longer than expected. A third-party service crashes, or the dev just disappears. Now what? You're stuck. You don't know where the code is. You don't know what's broken. You don't know how long it will take to fix. You've lost control. Because when you outsource the core of your product without understanding it, you're not building a startup. You're buying a project, and projects end. Now let's flip the script. Let's imagine you bring in a strong technical partner early on. Not just someone who codes, but someone who thinks like a co-founder. They challenge your assumptions. They tell you what's realistic, what's risky, and what's not worth building yet. They prototype fast. They help you launch something rough, but real, in 3 weeks instead of 3 months. And more importantly, they care. They care if users churn. They care if the app is slow. They care if your vision becomes reality, because they're part of it. That's not a contractor. That's not a hire. That's a co-founder. So let's get clear. If you're building a tech-enabled business, and tech is at the core of what you're offering, you need someone technical on your team who's fully invested in the outcome. And yes, I get it. Finding that person isn't easy. You're not just looking for a skill set, you're looking for a mindset. You want someone who thinks in systems, moves fast, can live with uncertainty, wants to build something that might fail, and still shows up anyway. You don't have to code. You don't have to become an engineer, but you do have to build with someone, not depend on someone, because startups are messy. The product will break, the users will ask for weird things, the deadlines will shift. And if you're alone, without someone who truly owns the tech, it's not just stressful, it's dangerous. So here's the takeaway. If you're serious about building a startup and not just launching a cool idea, make finding a technical partner a priority. Not an afterthought, not a bonus, a requirement. Because you don't just need someone to build what you imagined. You need someone to build what the market teaches you along the way. And that's not a job for a task taker. That's a job for a co-founder.